Life happens like this: being, doing, having. First being, then doing, then having. This is how life happens. But your problem is, first you want that, so you will do this and you will become this. If you try to do life in a reverse manner, suffering is inevitable. It doesn't matter, you have good intentions, still you will suffer. You will see people with good intentions seem to be suffering more than people with bad intentions. Have you noticed this? Because you're trying to handle life upside down, it's not going to work. You learn to be in a certain way, so you will get certain things and certain things will happen out of it.
So whatever you wish to do, you must bring yourself to moment of joy and clarity within yourself. At that moment, what you decide, even if you die, you must go by that. Whenever your emotions go up and down, your mind says many things, that's not important. In a moment of clarity, when I'm saying joy, because when you're happy, you're not compulsive. When you're very happy and clear, at that time, if you look at things and see that, yes, this is what is more sensible for me, just do that. It doesn't matter if it feels like hell, because that's where your well-being is. When you're in different states of compulsiveness, if you make decisions as to which way to turn, you will be endlessly lost. You try this with everything that you're compulsive about. Whatever you're compulsive about, just wait for 2 minutes. It won't kill you, it will leave you very strong. Gautama went to the extent of saying, the Buddha went to the extent of saying, when you're very hungry and you're badly in need of food, if you give away your food to somebody else, you will become stronger. I'm not going that far. I'm saying just wait 2 minutes. It will definitely leave you stronger. Taking away that compulsiveness in the body, because body and mind are a composition of all kinds of past imprints that you've taken, which have formed tendencies and they're compulsive tendencies. If you go by that, it means you have decided not to evolve. You don't want to break the pattern and go somewhere else.
Monotony is not life, monotony is the nature of the mind. That is, if you left your mind loose without knowing how to employ it. So if you do not know how to use it, mind will use you and consume you. So the whole spiritual process is just that. Every moment of your life, if you just look up, you're seeing a new piece of the sky because the earth is rotating. Every moment if you look up, you're seeing a new piece of the sky, it's very exciting. The earth is spinning all the time. Not one moment, same old thing anywhere, everything is changing. If you're alive to life, you will never know any monotony in your life. If you're not alive to life, but you just live in your mind, then everything will be monotonous because mind is repetitive in nature. People who are just bored and dejected and suffering the monotony of life, people come to just a week-long or weekend program and suddenly everything looks fresh for them because the cataract on their eyes has been cleared. So, the cataracted mind has been cleared and suddenly they find everything is beautiful for them all of a sudden. Particularly people who go through the Bhavaspandana, for them they go out and suddenly they're excited about everything and the same old things. So, what is old essentially comes because of your mind, otherwise there's nothing old in existence. Modern science is proving to you beyond any doubt, there is no such thing as old anywhere. Everything is reverberating and creating itself all the time. And a rock is pulsating with new life every moment. But the old exists only in the mind, because mind functions out of past memory. Once your mind is repetitive, you will neither know peace
nor joy, nor wisdom in your life. Each time you meditate and go beyond this repetitiveness.
See, if there is no involvement, there is no life. You can only know life with involvement. Even if the meal that you eat today, if you're not involved, you will not know what it is. Without involvement, you cannot even taste life. Not possible. People are talking about detachment because of fear of suffering. Fear of suffering has come because when they involve, they get entangled. They do not know how to get involved, they just get entangled. Entanglement is happening because your involvement is very discriminatory. Is that sinking in? Tell me, if you are less involved in your breath and more involved in your eating, you think life will work? See, breath is involuntary, that's why I'm using the word breath, because it's involuntary, you don't have to do anything, it's just happening. But we're involved by keeping the air conditioning on, otherwise we'll suffocate. This is our involvement, we turned on the machine. We may not be consciously breathing, all right? But we are involved. Without involvement in every aspect of life, you will get skewed. And that is when psychologically you get messed up so much that in many ways mind gets deranged. Seeing this, somebody said, you're too attached, you must be detached. No, detachment will not work either. Can you be detached and do something well? Can you do something well being detached about it? No, you need absolute involvement. If you have an indiscriminate sense of involvement, you will see there is no entanglement in your involvement. If you discriminate, you will get entangled. The problem is of discrimination, not of involvement. So how to build goodwill? I was doing a program for one of the top, really one of the largest multinational company in the world, top 25 executives. It's a 2-day event. I had 9 volunteers with me. Isha Foundation is a completely volunteer-run organization. And these 9 volunteers were managing everything for the program, and on the second day, one of these executives asked me, Sadhguru, where do you get such people? Because they are always looking for attrition, Where do you get such people? I said, you don't get them, you got to make them. How do you make them? I said, you have to make them fall in love with you. Oh, how do we do that? I said, first you must fall in love with them. Then they say, oh, they don't pay us for that. So that's all it is. You cannot build goodwill. You have to exude goodwill. If you offer it to everybody, then it comes back to you in many ways. But you don't worry whether it comes back to you or not. This should be your way of living. This should be a way of being, that you naturally include everybody in everything that you are. Some will respond, some will not respond, and it's fine, it's their choice. But as far as you're concerned, there's no choice. You have fallen in love with everybody. For them, they can choose still, but after some time, they'll lose their choice. They'll have no choice. If you continue to be like this, you will see after some time, they have no choice at all. Initially, they act like they have a choice, but after a while, they'll have no choice. So don't try to build goodwill. See, when I say fall in love with something, all I'm saying is, what you refer to as love is just a certain pleasantness of your emotion. Emotion is a very powerful thing. Though people talk all intellectual nonsense, still world is driven by human emotion. Yes? Isn't it so? Who gets elected is still driven by emotion, isn't it? Who is popular in the country or in the world is still driven by emotion, isn't it? People that you have never set your eyes upon, they're the people you're in love with. Please see. Yes? You see an Amitabh Bachchan or a Tendulkar or a Brad Pitt or somebody, or maybe Angelina Jolie, I'm sorry, I'm leaving that. You are in love with people that you have never seen. because that is the nature of your emotion. So emotion is a powerful tool. So if you can manage a steady sweetness of your emotion, you're in love with everything around you. If you're like this, people can't help it, they'll fall. This is not a trick, this is a way of being. This is an intelligent way to exist, because whether they fall in love with you or not, your life is very pleasant and sweet. Whether somebody loves you or not doesn't make a difference. It is just that you are loving that makes your life very pleasant. So goodwill, there is no trick to build goodwill. That is called cunning, you know. There is no trick, you just be like this. Those who respond will respond, those who don't. What is the problem?
Recognize people around you for the best that you have seen in them. In recognizing the best instead of the worst, you will kindle, nurture and receive the best of everyone. Whatever you pay attention to will naturally grow, at least for you. Every human being that you meet, there's a good side to them, there is a nasty side to them. If you pay attention to the nasty side, your mind will be preoccupied with the nastiness. Somebody else's nastiness will become yours. And because of that, you will receive more and more of that from all around you. If you pay attention to the best, even though in some people it may be a minuscule, if you pay attention to the best, it will grow, at least in your mind. In your experience, it will grow. There is a good chance it will grow in them also. Well, when you live in this world, when you're active, so many people will say and do variety of nasty things to you. But if you pay attention to that, you will stop in your tracks. If you pay attention to that may exist even in those people who are continuously spewing venom. One thing is, your mind shall never become nasty. Another thing is, there is always a possibility even they will turn around. I've conducted programs in the prisons, both in India and United States. I've met some of the criminals or convicts who have done terrible things in their life, but many of them have transformed themselves because of simple forms of yoga. Above all, when they were with me, they were absolutely wonderful people. This is what you can do. You heard of an Angulimala turning into a sage, you have heard of Valmiki turning into a great sage. Like this, there are many stories, only a few became famous. Many others are there who have transformed their nastiness to their wonderful nature simply because somebody paid attention to their wonderful nature. So please, whoever you meet, whatever the best you see in them, you don't have to imagine something. Whatever the best you see in them, pay attention to that. Hold that as a standard for those people to rise to, rather than holding their nastiness in your mind and allowing them to descend to their worst. This is a possibility that you have an opportunity to exercise every moment of your life. Let's make it happen.
Another concept which has made its rounds in the world, that something else should motivate you to do what you're doing. If what you're doing is significant enough, you don't need any other thing to motivate you. What you're doing is truly significant to life, why do you need another motivation to make that happen? If you really understand and experience that what you are doing is truly important for every life around you, you don't need a motivation, life just goes on. See, does your heartbeat need a motivation to keep it going? I'm asking you. All the life processes is not asking for any motivation, isn't it? Monsoon's coming, any motivation? No, it's coming year after year, because the natural process is going on. Simply like that, in you and me, life is on. What I'm telling you is, if you're doing something which is aligned with the fundamental life process of who you are, this can find a million expressions, it need not be just spiritual teaching. It can find a million expressions that what you're doing is aligned with your fundamental life process, then you will not need anything to motivate you. Simply, as a part of life, it will just happen. How much you do simply depends on how much time you invested on upgrading yourself. The problem with the world right now is, people are always trying to upgrade their activity. If you upgrade your activity without upgrading yourself, you are bound to break up somewhere. It's like you went on a Formula One track because you want to be on a fast track and you went with your Maruti 800. Suppose you hit the right kind of speed, all the four wheels will go in four different directions. It won't hold up. If you want to be on that kind of speed and that kind of track, you must prepare the machine. Upgradation of this one is important. If you upgrade yourself, activity will simply happen. Many people around me, many times think I'm superhuman because of that activity that I perform. This is not about being superhuman. If you explore the possibilities of being human, if you explore the possibilities of the immensity of being human, you will realize you don't have to be a superhuman, being human itself is super. So you will not need any external drive or some other inspiration, the very process of life will do it.
To be alone is wonderful, but to feel lonely is terrible, because loneliness means somewhere you have made your individual nature so exclusive that there is no way to feel connected with life around you. Of course, in a new place you may have a few challenges, I appreciate that. But the important thing is, for any given human being, we must understand we come alone and we go alone. When we are here, we are seeking for other people to travel with us as co-travelers. And that need not be only in one form or one type of relationship or the other, it can be in any number of ways. So above all, if you do not concretize your individuality, I'm this kind of a person, I'm from this nationality, I'm this race, I'm this religion, or I'm this gender and whatever else, if you just keep yourself a little open to life, that you are alive, you will see there's no room for loneliness. There's too much population, how can you be lonely? It's just that you cannot smile at this person that you have never seen before. If I have to smile at you, I must know who you are, where you come from, what you do, then only I can smile at you. This is a terrible condition for a human being. Why can't you just smile at anything? Why can't you smile at the sky? Why can't you smile at a tree? Why can't you smile at a cloud? Why can't you smile at the sun which is trying to burn you down?
There are no large issues in your life. What is the large issue that you're talking about? It is just about what job to take, which girl to marry,
That about covers it.
where to go for vacation, whether to get married or not get married, These are the things, isn't it? These are not large issues, these are little things in your life. Yes, oh, is it just a small thing whom I get married to? I'm not saying it's a small thing. But as an issue, it's a small issue, little issue. As a consequence to your life, yes, it has many things. But this is something that human beings have done for millions of years. We have enough experience on these things, isn't it? We know that whatever job we take, whoever we marry, it is just the way we make out of it. Every experience of life, you can make it an enriching experience. Every experience in your life, you can make a curse out of it. See, there is nothing wrong in your job, whatever job you're doing. There's nothing wrong getting this job, there's nothing wrong in losing this job. There's nothing wrong in getting married, there's nothing wrong in getting divorced. There's nothing wrong in not getting married. There is nothing wrong in anything, there's nothing wrong in this or that. But it is just that you make misery out of it, that's wrong. If you do this, you make misery out of it. If you do that, you make misery out of it. That's what is wrong with you. So you got married, is it wrong? That's not the point. There's nothing wrong with it. You did not get married, is it wrong? No, there's nothing wrong with it, that's wonderful too. You got divorced, is it wrong? No, that's also wonderful. It is just that you make misery out of everything, that's what is wrong. You just address that one issue, everything will be settled. That's what we are looking at. How not to make misery out of everything. If this one thing is settled, everything is settled, isn't it? Yes? If you know how to walk through this world joyfully, through marriage and divorce and celibacy and everything, if you know how to walk through this joyfully, what is the problem? Whatever you do is beautiful, isn't it? Next, if you don't even know how to be happy, don't have such goals as realization. They are very far away from you. See, you are just dismissing something very fundamental to your life with a stupid definition. Happiness is not just a state of mind, it is just the basis of the quality of life that you live here, isn't it? Is it such a small thing, happiness? Oh, it's just a state of mind. Is it a small thing? It's the biggest issue, isn't it? I said, if that is not possible, forget realization and all that nonsense. It's not even in your sphere. If you are capable of going through this world joyfully, then you could talk about going beyond. If you're not even capable of going through this joyfully, talking about beyond is no good. There is no way, I'm telling you. There is simply no way. For a person who is constantly creating inner battles all the time, how will he deal with the bondages of life and how will he transcend that? There's no question. It doesn't arise in your life. So first thing is working towards to be a blissful human being. If that happens, the rest becomes very simple. Because a blissful human being, once your happiness is not at stake, anything that's needed you will do, isn't it? Right now you cannot do what's needed because always your happiness is at stake. You are thinking which is the right thing to do, which is the right thing to do. There is no right thing to do in your life. There is no wrong thing to do in your life. If you know how not to make misery out of everything that you do, whatever you're doing is the right thing. If you're making misery out of everything that you do, everything that you do is the wrong thing. So that's the only issue you have to look at. Others are all petty things. What does it matter which way you do it?